Hey everybody, welcome to G4G on YouTube. Today we're taking a look at the demo of a game currently on Steam called Earth from Another Sun. It's an interesting game. That's probably the best that I can say about this. It is one that if you're on social media, you have probably encountered EFAS or Earth from Another Sun material before. It usually tends to be fun, it's memey, it's comical at times. I've watched a few other videos on YouTube briefly. I've kind of skipped around to see what some other people have been saying, and another reviewer there was like, yeah, these guys are blowing up my social media. I thought, for me, seeing them a lot on social media was maybe because I had subscribed to it, but other people are reporting they definitely see a bunch of EFAS stuff out there, so they at least have a pretty solid marketing department. Now, looking right here at this logo screen, a couple things that are just kind of hitting me. That is the star, very, very close to the star from the Captain America shield, I believe. This, I think, belongs to a game called Skulldivers. I have to check on that. That's Samus Screw Attack. Almost so much so that I'm actually concerned for them as to how much that looks like Metroid. This also looks vaguely familiar. I want to say like maybe Torchlight or something. And the rest are not particularly standing out to me. This looks like Star Trek? Galactic Federation, maybe? That kind of reminds me of a Halo Banshee? Whatever's the ground one with the seat. I forget if the Banshee is the one that flies or the ground one, but that shape looks like you're looking at the purple ground one head on. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with this, which is what I went with the first time that I played this. And oh, so that's what the color that changes. Okay, didn't know that that's what the color thing did. And the logo is here on the ship. So this is warning. This is one of those games where when you first start playing it, the sound is super loud, the music is super loud. It's typical of that. I kind of fucking hate that in a lot of games lately, because there'll be nothing worse than be sitting up here and I'm firing up a game for the first time, the girlfriend's doing something at her computer, she's got her headphones on, and then you just start the game, it's like, it's like the Inception blong at, 2,000 decibels in your ear. Anyway, so here's some plot stuff in the beginning. This is your second consciousness. I'm gonna kind of skip through this part really quick. Just a little bit of exposition that helps you learn about the game. You're probably wondering, like, okay, what kind of game is this? Like, before I get into the gameplay, what kind of a game am I going to be looking at over here? And to be honest, it is a bit weird. So when you go through that stuff, here is your ship that you're on. And some of these sections will eventually do other things, but this is your captain's chair. You can fill out a survey over there. You can give feedback over there, which I've done. If you jump down, you can come over here and set whether or not, like, your hybrid car, whether you're in power mode, normal mode, or eco mode. And it looks like it did keep my key bindings from the first game. So here's one of the things that annoys me about this game, and I did provide feedback for it. When you cannot set any of these keys that are here to be mouse keys. So, for example, if I wanted to do my standard... Oh, wow, and this is reverse access. This is reverse access. Look at this. I'm pushing... Oh, wait, there it goes. That was weird. It was reverse axis for a moment. Okay, melee. For example, there is always a bind that I do for melee, which is one of the thumb buttons on my mouse, the one closest to my palm. Nope, can't do it. Switch weapon, there is still a scrolly wheel for it. You can do that on the scroll wheel, but still, like down here, this is all you can bind to the mouse. Left clicks, right clicks, mouse wheel. I bind my reload and my melee to different things, and I can't do it. That's a little bit of a pain in the ass when that happens. So the first thing you do is... What the... Wow, there's like a Borg ship over here. As you travel through the stars, you encounter giant locked chests and scripts written for life and science. All life should be dedicated to science. What pushes life forms to evolve? I will say... Actually, almost all of these are correct answers, but I'll say survival of the fittest. Wrong. Okay. Wonder if I can go back and take another shot. So, you don't really know how to fly. It never really gives you kind of a tutorial on it. But it's sort of a click and drag, and then if you just move the mouse in a particular direction, you will scroll the star field. Here, on this one, I'm given an orange target to go. So, this one's kind of easy. Just fly towards the target. Some of the other ones are not as easy. You sort of just wander around. And I definitely had a Bebop moment where I ran out of fuel and I just kind of slowly had to drift in the direction I wanted to go. And then I was coming back from a mission, and I just slowly drifted back to the space station with no thrusters whatsoever. Because up here is your credits, your fuel, and your food. And this is also weird. This is very VR game-ish. In order for me to pick my choices, I have to aim at them with the arrow and then click. It just reminds me of how a VR game would set up. So here's the first station. And, okay. So this guy looks a lot like a guy that was in Rage. There was a guy in Rage, I think he ran like a TV studio or something, and he was just a pretty big fat guy who wore no pants, and he had a, sort of like an apparatus hooked up to his crotch. It was like a metal plate there with tubes coming out of it. Looks a lot like this. There was just something about, I guess we could call it a Jabba the Hutt trope, that these fat cats that run things like empires or things related to entertainment all kind of just look like this. I don't know if the trope existed before Jabba the Hutt or not, but yeah. So you get here and he's like, okay, you gotta prove that you can do stuff for me, and you know, then we'll go ahead and have conversations. So buy troops to build a fleet. So once you get rid of him, you have to go to the barracks. And here you go. So here are your troops. Actually, it's a little bit different this time around over here. There's some better quality troops that are available. So you just right-click, and they take up a slot, sort of like a Diablo inventory. And there you go. Now, there is your 12 for 12. So you have your main character, which is you, have a common, a rare, a healer, and an uncommon troop. Now, there's been times in the past where I've had like spitters, sort of like the StarCraft Hydras, I think they were, that did the long-range spit and everything. This one tends to be mostly melee-based with the nurse going on over here. Money's still looking pretty good. you escape your way out of it, and then you can go to the dock. And a girlfriend could kind of hear a little bit of this in the background when I was playing it, because I was going into this shop a lot. And she's like, what R2-D2 shit is going on over there? Usually you can only afford one ship on the first one, and it's this. I would recommend coming and doing the ship first before your troops to make sure you don't somehow overextend. And then if you go to residence, there is nothing really going on over here. So I believe if you back this game on Kickstarter, maybe, I forget where it is that it's backed. I do believe like one of the tiers is like you get your own waifu. Oh, I didn't notice the weapon shop before. Oh, holy hell. Huh. I earned one of these spitters last time when I went into a rift. But yeah, I didn't know the store was down here. I guess I never moused down in this corner. I like moused over a couple things. Hotel is where you can rest and do some stuff. If you want to get out of the space station, go over to R2-D2, hip hop R2-D2 over here, and do leave. And then leave again. Okay, so we are supposed to go find pirates and kill them. See, this was the part where I ran out of fuel before, because you don't know where the pirates are. And you don't really get an indicator. So you just have to kind of look around the starfield here, and what's really interesting is if you hold your mouse... Oh, there we go. Maybe those will be pirates. If you hold your right mouse button down, you can kind of skew the perspective a little bit. It does make it a little bit easier to find people sometimes when you change the viewport a little. But it looks like this time I'm finding the pirates pretty quickly. So as you can see, my food's going down a little bit for my troops. It's mostly my fuel that's going down. And we're gonna fight them. So this is where most people think the game is mainly going to take place based on the videos that they're seeing on social media and on their Steam profile and everything. So when you load in, you have your troops with you over here. And it kind of doesn't really tell you what to do over here. You're like, F1 to charge. It dawns on you a little bit what you're supposed to do is that essentially this is like a American Revolutionary War kind of thing. You just line up on the other side of the field and then you go. And it looks like they're actually going already. The enemies. So the enemies are over there. And your team sprints off. And you're in control, which I did not load up my acid splitter weapon. So while they're doing stuff, hopefully taking a little bit of aggro and taking shots, you run around and do this. And you have an alternate fire. There's a bit of a burst. And they like kind of hop a little bit. And the darker, more black colors are you. By the way, if you can sneak around and get in on the nurse, that's a good way to go. Because you've taken out their healer. And there isn't a zoom or anything. This is kind of, at least for this gun, this is it. Oh wait, he's... Huh, that's actually my color. Yeah, it gets a little confusing trying to figure out which ones are you and which ones aren't. So, after battle, you get other people So now I'm bumping up my roster a little bit. Mostly what I had already. So when I was doing a little research on YouTube about this game to see if anybody else had been doing reviews on it, I encountered somebody saying that there is a bit of a controversy on this game. And that is the fact that there was an accusation that they're stealing assets. It turns out that it isn't true. What happened was they purchased a asset pack, and that is the assets that were released when Evolve went under years ago. So some of the creatures in this bear a resemblance, somewhat uncannily, to the creatures that were rolling around on the planets on Evolve, that the creatures would eat to power up. So one of the things about this game is that you can see here from the screen is that it dips really heavily into the sexy woman trope, and it's used in a lot of their media, and I believe in one of the tiers, like, you get a waifu that stays with you, and as you can see from this outfit over here, they are quite classically the hot woman trope, but at least she has a pipe. But yeah, so what happens is when you defeat those pirates, you run into this girl who had been captured by them, and really what you discover is there was a high-ranking dude in the pirates over there, masquerading as a pirate, and really he's a bad guy. He's a, like, prince or something, but he was hanging out with the pirates, and he was the one who went ahead and captured her. Now, I'm going to see if I can get one more set of pirates in before I return. The demo is sort of limited in the sense that right around the time you get up to this quest to do a rift, you essentially hit the power level where the game is cutting you off, and you're like, okay, you've hit the power level. Where the demo cuts off. One thing that I definitely have to say about this thing is that the load screens take way longer than you would imagine they would. This one going into combat isn't bad, but the one when you first install, or not when you first install the game, when you first boot up the game to when you actually have control over it, is exceptionally long, and I really can't imagine why. This is not exactly Crisis stuff. I'm not bagging it, but it just doesn't seem to have that reason why it takes so long. So I'm going to scoot around back over here. You can see there's the nurses. Take some shots and move in. I'm not really too sure if there's... Whoa, that's the first time I've ever died. I guess my troops are just going to fight it out without me. Well, that's the first time that's happened, but then again, I've never gone back-to-back combat like this, so it's a potential that my injuries from the first combat heal. But, alright, let's just... You can zoom around the battlefield. I truly believe... Yeah, alright, only lost one troop. And we've gained a bunch. So you just right-click them and they get added to your slots. So these backgrounds over here for the loading screens, I doubt we will ever see things this pretty in this game, to be honest. What I'm going to do is go here, and here's the armory. So I'm going to equip that as my secondary weapon. And I don't think I can rest on my own ship yet. At least I've never tried. So I'm just going to go back to the space station. And again, here is where an orange indicator would have been nice. Or tab, or M to like bring up a Starfield map over here to kind of give me a general direction, because like right now I have no fucking clue where I'm supposed to go. I mean, hell, if I can... Oh, well, there we go. So we gotta head this way. I mean, that's kind of trial and error, that I had a rough idea as to which direction the space station was. I would like a finished product to have some bit of like a local map or something like that, so that you could kind of figure out where to go. And then just rotate a little bit. I've never tried to conquer one of these. I would imagine it wouldn't go well. So here we are with Slobba the Hutt again. You tell him what happened is, you know, here's Titty Lady. Here's Nipple Tits. And then you find out the cult is like, they eat people, they're cannibals. So you get a few things to equip. And he gives you some equipment that you have to hit a certain power level. Little did I know there was this weapon shop down here, which could have increased things a bit. So this is a consumable. And these are boots. Going into the barracks, we'll see if there's any new soldiers here, and there are. Buy a few of those. And let's get one more good healer. So I'm going to go to the hotel this time. Take the cheapo room. Still called the Admiral room, though. I actually want this clock. I think this would be a really cool clock to have in real life. This is one of the coolest things that I've found in this game, is that stupid clock. So now, if you go to your ship, and this is really how you're supposed to do this particular mission over here, is you equip the things that were given to you or you purchased. These go as slots or abilities, and I think I've jacked my power up quite a bit. Yep. Please proceed to the nearby space station. Yeah. So you just go back in, go to dock, go tell Slobba, hey, I've equipped all the stuff you gave me. And yeah, so that's one bad thing that happens about this, and people have mentioned. You can power up so far, like I just did, and power up so that you get kicked out of the game before you can even go into the rift. So there is a next quest that happens that allows you to go into a rift where you fight creatures inside of a planet without your troops. It's just you. Yeah, the media for this game kind of makes it look a bit Borderlands-ish. Their marketing team is great. It's very memey and comical and fun, but by the same token, it might start to get a little bit misleading. I think they need to include some footage of the flying sequences, and sort of like when you first drop into the planet and you tell your troops to go. I think that would be something that would be more fair to the consumers to include, because we've all seen the No Man's Sky stuff before, and we've seen what happens. People need to learn that lesson that happened with No Man's Sky and be better about it and not repeat the same mistakes that they did. And EFAS might be shading over to that a little bit. So if you encounter the controversy about the assets on this game, I would, at this point, it's kind of a nothing burger. It seemed to be a legitimate asset purchase, and Evolve has been dead for so long, I don't think they knew what they were doing. Now that it's out there, I hope when the final product comes, they tweak the things enough so that they stand alone and are not carbon copies of it. And man, some of those flags, not skull divers, I think it's called hell divers. Let me take a look at my Steam really quickly over here. Okay, close. It's similar. Yeah, it's kind of close, but not direct. Yeah, I think they need to watch some of their stuff a little bit. I think they strayed dangerously close to existing IP. I mean that S for the screw attack for Metroid, or S for Samus. Yeah, that one's definitely kind of dicey. Anyway, so that's Earth from Another Sun. The demo's out on Steam right now. Give it a try if you want. See what you think about it, and then consider backing them if you like it. Also, don't do what I did and just power yourself up past 3,000, and then you'll get kicked out of the demo before you can do more of it. So, let me know what you think of the game down below. See you guys later.